Imagine a moment where the world you know bends in a direction you never expected. Picture yourself standing on a rooftop in New York City as the wind slips between the buildings, carrying a hint of something new, something impossible. What if someone told you that you could leave this city, cross the entire American continent, and land in Los Angeles barely an hour later, long before your coffee cools? What if the vehicle doing this wasn't a giant airliner roaring like a metal beast, but a small personal craft that didn't drink a single drop of jet fuel? It didn't require a runway carved into the land, and didn't cost more than a luxury SUV. Most people would laugh that off as a science fiction daydream. For years, this sort of idea was locked in the same drawer as teleportation, hoverboards, and time machines. Then Elon Musk walked in and cracked the drawer open. The announcement that followed sent a ripple through the aviation world. Then a wave, and then a full-fledged shock. Tesla revealed a machine that could alter not just how we travel, but how we imagine distance itself. It wasn't just another electric car or another upgraded Tesla feature. This time, the company stepped into the sky and placed an aircraft in front of the world. One that doesn't run on fumes or thunderous engines, but on electricity and software. The strange part is not that Musk built something futuristic. It's that the price of this craft sat so far outside expectations it sounded like a typo. The starting cost is just $75,999, a number that falls thousands below the price of certain luxury cars and unimaginably below the world of private jets. Let that thought breathe for a moment. A vehicle capable of lifting itself into the air, crossing hundreds of miles without touching a runway, and doing it all without fossil fuel, costs less than cars that sit in suburban driveways. This changes how we measure value. If an aircraft can be this affordable, what stops it from taking over short-range travel entirely? What does that mean for airlines that depend on passengers filling every narrow seat? What happens to airports, built around long runways, to fuel companies that rely on jet engines consuming thousands of gallons per hour? These questions are no longer fantasies for futurists. They are suddenly practical dilemmas for entire industries. For more than a decade, Elon Musk dropped hints like breadcrumbs, interviews, tweets, and casual conversations. He spoke about vertical takeoff aircraft, battery breakthroughs, and a point where electric propulsion would finally overpower jet fuel. Over time, these hints formed a loose silhouette of an idea people assumed was still years away. But now that silhouette is solid. Tesla's first super-electric plane is real, physical, and introduced not as a concept or prototype waiting for approval, but as a device intended for personal use, regional travel, and everyday mobility. The world's reaction was part disbelief, part exhilaration. People expected Tesla to try something bold, but no one expected a flying craft priced at less than a mid-tier sports car. For comparison, a traditional private jet is easily $3 to $10 million. Even the smaller personal aircraft that hobby pilots use regularly costs hundreds of thousands to more than $1 million. And those still require jet fuel, storage hangars, maintenance crews, pilot training, and miles of paved runway. Now Tesla steps in and offers a radically cheaper alternative with fewer requirements. Powered by clean energy and equipped with computing intelligence that older aircraft could only dream about. If you're someone looking to move from one city to another with convenience and flexibility, why would you ever spend millions on a traditional aircraft again? That question is the hook that threatens the entire private aviation sector. Tesla is not merely selling a product. It is positioning a replacement. The marvel continues when you look inside the machine. The Tesla super-electric plane delivers up to 500 miles of range from a single charge. That number alone makes short domestic flights in the United States look outdated. Trips like Los Angeles to San Francisco or New York to Washington, D.C. suddenly become something you could do privately, skipping airports altogether. And Tesla has already engineered specialized aerocharging hubs, capable of refilling the batteries to 80% in barely half an hour. It's the same convenience philosophy that made superchargers a global norm, but adapted for the sky. The detail that truly electrifies the imagination is the potential scalability. If this craft can already reach 500 miles, what stops Tesla from pushing to 700, 800, even 1,000 miles as battery panels become lighter, cooling systems more efficient, and energy density improves. In fact, all signs point toward rapid advancement. Batteries are evolving faster today than ever in history. Musk himself has said that once the energy density threshold crosses a certain point, electric aircraft will naturally surpass fossil fuel aircraft in performance and economics. That moment appears closer now, but range is only the opening act. The second feature is what transforms the aircraft from impressive to revolutionary. Vertical takeoff and landing flips the script. Traditional planes need long runways because they must build enough forward speed to lift themselves into the air. A vertical takeoff craft rises from the ground like an elevator pushed by invisible hands, and tilts forward and shoots across the sky as smoothly as a bird unfolding into a glide. This eliminates the need for runways entirely. Imagine walking to the field near your home, powering up your aircraft, and lifting into the sky without ever going to an airport. Imagine entire buildings with skydecks that serve as access points for travel. Imagine a world where commuting takes place not on congested highways but in peaceful air lanes threading above the noise. And once that idea becomes widespread, airports must ask themselves what role they serve. They were built around the needs of machines that required large open surfaces and massive infrastructure. A sky filled with personal VTOL aircraft disrupts that. People will move between cities without sitting in terminals, without booking tickets, without passing through crowded security checkpoints designed for commercial airlines. The ground would lose some of its monopoly on travel. The third feature turns the aircraft into an intelligent companion rather than a machine requiring decades of training. Tesla adapted its autopilot and full self-driving systems for aviation. The sensors watch the world in all directions. Cameras assess every angle of the sky. Radar and advanced AI decision-making operate constantly. The aircraft can lift off, navigate, and land entirely on its own. You can take control manually if you choose, but you never have to. The system is engineered to do the flying, the stabilizing, the pathfinding, and the landing while you simply exist inside the cabin. Then comes the detail no one else can offer: Starlink. Every Tesla plane arrives with permanent free global satellite internet, streaming mid-flight, video calling from a floating cabin, working while gliding through the sky with no interruptions. Even in remote areas where airlines cannot provide Wi-Fi, all of that becomes normal. This effectively transforms the aircraft into a flying workspace. The idea of offices bound to buildings cracks open. People could hold meetings in the sky. Students could attend classes while gliding above clouds. You could even build a business that operates from above the land, unreachable by traffic or weather delays. When comparing Tesla's craft to other pieces of electric aviation entering the market, the difference becomes almost comical. Startups like Joby Aviation, or companies dabbling in electric flying taxis, price their vehicles in the hundreds of thousands or millions. Legacy aircraft builders are exploring hydrogen propulsion, but these projects cost billions and remain tangled in research and regulation. Tesla arrives with something operational, dramatically cheaper, and backed by an ecosystem that already controls energy storage, solar production, AI algorithms, charging networks, and an interplanetary internet service. No competitor on Earth has that level of control over every piece of the process. Tesla doesn't rely on outside manufacturers to supply essential parts. It doesn't need to rent communication technology from third parties. It doesn't rely on airports for infrastructure because it builds its own. The company owns the ecosystem from energy creation to energy storage to propulsion to navigation to digital connectivity.
Now gaze.
This closes the circle completely. Other companies can't compete with an ecosystem built so tightly that every component strengthens the others. A subtle but important question starts rising. Is Tesla still a car company? Or has Musk quietly assembled a transport empire stretching across land, air, and orbit? The pieces suggest something larger than vehicles. Musk is building the pipes of the future. Electricity from the sun, storage in batteries, movement through autonomous machines, and communication via satellites. The electric plane plugs directly into that vision. The impact on the United States would be profound. Travel within the country could shift quickly. Airlines charge hundreds of dollars for domestic trips, sometimes more depending on dates and seasons. Families spend large amounts on simple journeys. But when the cost of flying drops to around $50 to $70 in energy consumption per trip, powered by clean electricity and solar-fed charge points, the economics tilt. Suddenly, flying becomes cheaper than driving long distances. A family could skip airports entirely, walk to a local vertipad, lift into the sky, and land closer to their destination without queues, security, lug.